From battlefields to boardwalks, the Lowcountry's national parks are rich with history and natural beauty. Joining us now is Christopher Reed, Park Ranger with Fort Sumter and Fort Moultrie National Historical Park and the Charles Pinckney National Historic Site. And you're here to share some hidden gems that a lot of people who even have lived here for many, many years have yet to visit. You've got one of the best jobs.
That's right. There's a lot of people that say, I'm waiting to do what you do when I retire. And I say, well, start now.
Yeah, so national parks in South Carolina, we've got quite a few of them. So how many total in the whole state do we have?
We have one official national park, and that would be Congaree. That has the big title of national park. You also have national park sites like Fort Sumter, Fort Moultrie National Historical Park, Charles Pinckney National Historic Site, and then upstate we have many more sites including Cow Pens, Kings Mountain, 96, and Over Mountain Victory.
Not only are they bucolic, but full of history. And you've brought some history with you. We'll get to these things, but maybe you could talk about some of the differences between the different national park sites that you just mentioned.
Yeah, certainly. One thing I think it's important for people to remember is that every nature park has history and every history park has nature. Mm-hmm. So for the park where I work, Fort Sumter, Fort Moultrie, as well as Charles Pinckney, we're primarily history focused, talking with Fort Sumter about the start of the Civil War, with Fort Moultrie, Carolina Day, the June 28th victory over the British Royal Navy and Army, which spurs the Moultrie flag to really gain popularity and eventually turns into the South Carolina state flag. Yeah. You have places like Congaree, which are primarily focused on the natural beauty of things, where you walk through the oldest old-growth forest on the East Coast.
Oh, is that so?
Congaree is a beautiful place. It's a one-of-a-kind, and you definitely need bug spray to visit.
Oh yeah, you kind of need that everywhere here.
That's fair.
So yeah, I mean, if you're not packing it with you in your purse or your pocket, then I don't know. Mm-hmm. So you did mention though, what inspired the flag of South Carolina. So you brought a few items. I do want to point out the palmetto trunk that you brought in with you and the significance of also this tiny but mighty cannonball. This thing is 12 pounds. This is a real cannonball.
Real cannonball.
It weighs a ton. But tell me about the relationship between these two items.
The palmetto log and the cannonball are from its first version. So 1776, Fort Moultrie is not yet Fort Moultrie. It is only a half-built fort. It doesn't even have a name. Sometimes it's called Fort Sullivan or Fort O'Sullivan, but doesn't have an official name. It's made out of palmetto logs and sand. And depending on who you ask, palmetto trees, which are our state tree, are not even really trees. Some people say they're grasses because of the fact that it's not a hardwood, it doesn't have rings, it's really spongy and soft. And
so these trees saved a lot of lives.
They did. That fort was absorbing cannonballs. Some rumors even say it was bouncing cannonballs back at the British when they were attacking the fort in their attempt to take Charleston. Exactly right.
Very strong sponge.
Yeah. So after about 9 hours of battle, the greatest navy in the world has to turn around and leave. One of their ships is so beached and damaged that they can't save it. The other ones have lost their masts. Wow. They've got holes. They're in danger of sinking. And the fort, perfectly fine.
Ingenious. Mm-hmm. Ingenious that they came up with that.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Well, you mentioned enslaved men, women, and children, and one of the largest industries in South Carolina was the cultivation of indigo.
Absolutely.
And you brought some of that as well.
Yes. So that is some that a previous park ranger made at the Charles Pinckney site, grew the plant, cut it down, did the whole process, and we've got a spoon there to show just how dark of a color that the indigo dye leaves on everything. And we're going to have a park ranger from Hampton Plantation State Historic Site working with us on June 28th on our Carolina Day celebration to actually show people what an indigo dye demonstration looks like.
You are going to have an author that's going to be presenting with their book.
Yes, Sullivan's Island resident Norm is also a volunteer with the National Park Service, and he believes that the Battle of Sullivan's Island, the Battle at Fort Moultrie, is the arguably the most important or the most undertold story in American military history. And he believes it so much that he volunteers with us and he wrote the book on it.
That's great.
And at 6 p.m. on June 28th, he'll be presenting, and all day during the event, he'll be signing books as well.
Fighting for Freedom, a Carolina Day commemoration. Again, that's Saturday, June 28th. This is going to be at Fort Moultrie. Free?
Free, absolutely.
Absolutely free. All right. Thank you so much, Chris, for
My pleasure.
coming on and sharing all this wonderful history with us. Got to know our history living in the Low Country. We'll be back after this.